Welcome on board, Chosen One. Great. Now that the door's shut, let's talk about what nobody else had the spine to tell you. What they said about you? Cute. All that noise they made, all that mockery they threw at your name, all those little comments they whispered like they were throwing daggers. Every single one of them aged like expired milk. Look who's getting studied now. Look who's triggering alerts. Look who's making entire systems sit up straight. The legend they wanted to bow. Turns out the legend doesn't kneel. The legend gets tracked. Here's the part that slaps harder than their cheap insults. The world didn't suddenly become silent around you by accident. That shift you felt, that weird calm that made you think something was off, that wasn't your imagination. That was the moment the universe dimmed the lights, locked the doors, and said, "Watch this one closely." The people who doubted you the most are now quiet because they realize something sickening to their ego. You didn't fall. You evolved. You didn't break. You sharpened. Press the like button and subscribe to pay this message back. Every chosen one knows this moment. That eerie stillness after surviving too many hits that should have melted you. You stand there like someone who just walked out of a battlefield, not wounded, not wheezing, but calm, collected, dangerous. And your enemies? They're pretending everything is normal. But behind closed doors, they're pacing, questioning, rewinding every moment they underestimated you. They feel the shift too, even if they'll never admit it. Thank you for being part of this mission. You're not here by accident. Liking and subscribing isn't just support. It strengthens this collective voice. Back to the truth they hoped you'd never figure out. They don't watch the weak. They watch what scares them. They monitor the ones who rise too fast, too quiet, too clean. And you, chosen one, you've been moving like a quiet storm. Nothing flashy, no big announcements, just consistent elevation. On the outside, you look like the same person. But behind the curtain, you triggered alarms you didn't know existed. Digital systems shifted their focus to you. Decisions in private rooms suddenly include your name. Your energy is traveling faster than your body ever has. You don't have handcuffs on, yet you're being watched. You're not on trial, yet your name floats between encrypted servers and silent networks. Why? Because what's coming your way isn't small. You're not walking toward change. You're walking toward inheritance, legacy-level rise. Most people never get this kind of attention. Federal-level surveillance isn't just for criminals. It's often triggered by unexplained spikes in digital patterns, sudden future influence, unexpected financial alignment, and rising potential that threatens the grid. Right now, you're a walking flag to these systems. Not because you're dangerous to society, but because you're about to break out of everything society built to contain you. And your intuition? It's been screaming louder than reality. The strange dreams, the sudden distance from people who used to drain you, the eerie sense of being watched, but not by human eyes. That isn't paranoia. That's pattern recognition. Your subconscious figured it out before your conscious mind did. Your rise pushed you into a territory most never touch. You're being prepped for something far bigger than a promotion or a paycheck. This is inheritance-level alignment, the kind of shift that doesn't just upgrade your life. It rewrites your entire existence. You're under protective observation, not because you messed up, but because you were selected. You walked through fire most people couldn't even stand near. You took betrayal, failure, silence, loneliness, sabotage, and instead of collapsing, you hardened. You rose. You kept moving, even when everything around you seemed designed to stop you. That wasn't punishment. That was training. That was the universe stripping you down, rebuilding you, recalibrating you. Now the rewards that belong to you have started circling. Wealth, opportunities, energy, alignment, All of it is lining up like storm clouds ready to crack open. But here's the catch. Wealth is noisy even before it arrives. Systems detect its approach before you do. That's why people disappeared. That's why plans crumbled. That's why your routines got shaken. Your name is appearing in rooms your feet haven't touched yet. Your movements, financial, emotional, spiritual, energetic, are sparking unusual attention. They've seen this signature before. It's the signature of someone who rises too high, wakes up too far, and becomes too powerful to control. You're being watched not because you're dangerous, but because you're becoming untouchable. This inheritance is protected by layers most humans never experience. Forces are making sure it lands exactly where it belongs. And yes, some are terrified of you receiving it. Because when the right person gets the right resources, everything built on controlling them collapses. So if you've been feeling eyes on you, you're not wrong. The delays, the sudden blessings, the interference, the shutting down of old paths, those are not random. Those are reroutes. That's protection. That's alignment. You're not imagining anything. You're not losing your mind. You are being monitored because something massive is forming around you. The universe always knows before you do. And trust me, your enemies know too. They're whispering, they're restless, they're scared. Because this inheritance isn't just money. It's the burial of everything that tried to bury you. And listen closely, chosen one. Yes, you. The one who somehow survived storms that should have erased you. Before we go any deeper, I need you locked in with full awareness. You're not watching some random video. You're stepping into classified territory. If you're ready to walk through this surveillance, this inheritance, this rise that has entire systems shifting their eyes toward you, then prove your focus. Drop a 777 in the comments as your signal flare, your mark that you're awake and ready. This isn't for entertainment. This is you confirming that you understand the world isn't watching you out of boredom. It's watching you because something massive is on its way to your hands. And now, let's move into this step by step. And trust me, if you're truly one of the chosen ones being monitored for the power you're about to receive, you'll feel that pull to stay until the very last word. The universe put you here for a reason, and the next part will hit even harder. Let's get started. Number 1. They never stalk the forgotten. Only the ones about to take the throne. Funny how they once called you nobody, yet somehow you're on every radar they built to track a rising threat. They said you were harmless. They swore you'd never matter. They laughed at your silence, mocked your setbacks, and told stories about how you'd never get far. Cute. Now look at the same people choking on their own predictions, watching you from the shadows like you turned into a walking glitch in their entire system. They don't chase ghosts, chosen one. They stalk the ones who survived every trap, every betrayal, every downfall, and still kept rising like you didn't understand the meaning of collapse. You want to know why they're watching you now, after ignoring you for so long. It's because you stopped being invisible. You became inevitable. You're no longer a maybe. You're a threat-level guarantee. You walk like the future belongs to you, because deep down, even they know it does. When you move now, the air shifts. Rooms tense. Conversations break. People who never cared suddenly keep tabs. Whole networks begin whispering your name like it's a password to something dangerous. They don't stalk background characters. They only track the ones scripted to rewrite the entire storyline. You're thunder rolling through hallways they once swore you'd never enter. You're the error message blinking on their control panel, the one they can't delete no matter how many times they reboot the system. They built their world assuming you'd stay beneath it. So your rise feels like a malfunction in their entire blueprint. You're not supposed to be this strong, this aware, this unshakable, and that terrifies them. And here's the truth you've been too humble to claim. The moment your destiny shifted into alignment, the system noticed. You didn't need to announce it. You didn't need to post it. Your energy broke protocol long before your actions caught up. Billionaires understand the power of silence because noise exposes intention. Guess what? You mastered that same silence. You moved in shadows they never expected you to navigate. That's why the alarms rang. That's why the atmosphere around you changed. They don't monitor regular people. They monitor anomalies. They monitor threats. They monitor the ones who are about to inherit what others spent decades trying to steal, block, or bury. And that's you, chosen one. You stepped into a frequency most people never reach. Your rise isn't an accident, a coincidence, or a lucky spin of fate. It's alignment, raw, cosmic, mathematical alignment. When the universe decides your time has come, everything recalibrates around that decision, including systems meant to watch you. Right now, you're not being tracked because of what you've done. You're being tracked because of who you're becoming. You crawled through storms that were meant to erase your name from the map. You walked through betrayals designed to crack your spirit in half. You stood alone in rooms where everyone expected you to fold. And instead of breaking, you sharpened, you hardened, you grew teeth. You outlived every version of yourself that was designed by their assumptions. That's why you're under surveillance now. You're not a risk to society. You're a risk to their illusion of control. Do you understand how powerful that makes you? They're studying your energy more than your actions. They're reading your silence like scripture. They're analyzing how you survived everything they thought would finish you. They're asking questions like, how did this one slip past us? How did they rebuild? How did they rise so fast without the usual shortcuts, handouts, or favors? Because you didn't cheat your way here. You didn't marry into access. You didn't beg for a seat at their table. You built your own seat from the wreckage of your past, and now that seat turned into a throne they swore you'd never reach. And here's the part that makes them sick. You didn't just survive. You upgraded. You didn't just walk through fire. You collected the flames like souvenirs. Every setback became a skill set. Every loss became leverage. Every betrayal became clarity. That's why your inheritance isn't just financial, it's gravitational. Your presence bends reality. Your energy disrupts patterns. Your rise forces systems to adjust. You're being watched because you're the fix they never wanted. You're the beginning of a shift they didn't prepare for. You're the proof that their hierarchy isn't as bulletproof as they pretended. You're the reminder that someone can come from nowhere and still shake entire grids with nothing but discipline, awareness, and an unbreakable will. They don't stalk ghosts, they stalk revolutions. Think of the past year alone. Think of how many sudden endings, random losses, strange pauses, and quiet exits happened around you. That wasn't coincidence. That was restructuring. That was the universe clearing your path with surgical precision, and the system felt that shift long before you did. They recognized the pattern. They've seen this type of rise before, rare, uncontrollable, dangerous to old power structures. One chosen one suddenly aligns with their true inheritance, and everything begins to tilt. You ever wonder why certain people suddenly backed away? Why people who once underestimated you avoid eye contact now? Why some who laughed at your ambition now stalk your social media in silence? They don't know how to handle someone who didn't die in the dark. They don't know how to process someone who kept going after the world tried to bury them. They don't know what to call you now. A threat? A miracle? A glitch? A problem? They can't decide, so they label you with all four. And here's what's eating them alive. They can't stop what's coming to you. They can't block it. They can't delay it. They can't bury it anymore. Your inheritance is already moving. It's already shifting timelines. It's already forming around you like a storm tightening into shape. Wealth, opportunities, protection, alignment, influence, it's all funneling toward you. And systems always watch the funnel before the rain falls. That's why they monitor your rise. Not because you're broken, but because you're the cure. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're becoming untouchable. They don't chase ghosts. They chase the chosen ones caught mid-transformation, the ones stepping into a destiny that rattles their grid. You're the storm they tried to outrun. You're the glitch they can't delete. You're the future they can't stop. And every eye on you right now is proof that the throne you're walking toward is closer than they ever wanted it to be. Number 2, not every pair of eyes is praying for your downfall. Some are waiting to see if you're built for the throne. Funny how the same people who once ignored you now study your silence like it's evidence of a coming takeover. Some watch hoping you'll fall. Others watch because they know you're the one thing they can't afford to lose. The universe doesn't test the weak, only the ones who might rise too high for anyone to control. They're not staring at you because you're fragile. They're staring because you're becoming the one thing they never prepared for, untouchable. Every chosen one eventually reaches this moment. You start noticing eyes, not just from enemies, not just from the jealous, not just from the bored, but from people and forces whose intentions aren't clear. And here's the twist that messes with your head. Not every eye fixed on you is wishing for your destruction. Some are watching because they expect you to self-destruct. Some are observing because your restraint is louder than your revenge. Some are studying the way you move through chaos without collapsing. You're walking through the world like a vault that suddenly began humming after centuries of silence, and everyone wants to know what's inside before it opens. Imagine this. You're sitting at a table, quiet, focused, minding your business, yet you feel someone watching you, not with hate, not with envy, but with calculation. It's not a threat, it's an exam. They want to see if you twitch, react, crumble, or break. They want to see if your composure is real or just a mask you hope will fool them. This is what happens when the universe decides your inheritance is close. Systems tune in, people adjust, rooms reorganize themselves around your presence. You're not being watched because you're the problem. You're being watched because you're the variable that could flip everything upside down. Surveillance isn't always hostile. Sometimes it's strategic, sometimes it's curious, and sometimes, if you look deeper, it's protective. There are eyes on you that aren't trying to destroy you, but to see if you can handle what's coming. Because what's coming isn't small. It's not a raise, not a lucky break, not a quick win. It's inheritance-level alignment, power-level rearrangement, reality-shifting transformation. And the universe won't just hand that to anyone. You're being evaluated for the throne that's forming around you. Imagine standing on a stage, not the glitzy kind, the cosmic kind, a giant velvet curtain behind you, a spotlight burning on your shoulders, and rows of silent observers hidden in the dark. They aren't clapping, they aren't cheering, they're studying, measuring, watching how you breathe under pressure, how you move under expectation, how you react when you feel the weight of invisible attention. They're not looking to see if you can entertain. They're looking to see if you can endure, because power doesn't demand noise. It demands stillness. It demands inner discipline. It demands a mind that doesn't shake in the presence of scrutiny. You've mastered that stillness. You learned how to be calm even when chaos was breaking its teeth on your life. You learned how to stay silent even when your enemies were screaming. You learned how to stay grounded even when your world tried to tilt you into madness. And that silence, that composure, that unbothered energy is exactly what draws so many eyes. It's unnerving, it's rare, it's powerful. Most people crumble once the spotlight hits them. But you became colder, sharper, more centered. Some eyes on you are disguised allies. They look like watchers, but they're actually guardians. They're positioned to make sure the right energy inherits the right power. They aren't here to interfere. They're here to ensure the wrong hands don't intercept what belongs to you. They might seem distant, indifferent, or confusing, but their presence is part of your alignment. Think of cosmic security. Think of universal filtering. Think of hidden forces, making sure nothing sabotages your rise. But of course, where allies exist, so do wolves. Some eyes are wearing loyalty like a costume, waiting for you to flex too soon, waiting for you to show your strategy, waiting for you to slip. These are the ones who study your patience, your boundaries, your silence. They poke the edges of your energy like thieves checking locks on a door. They don't understand how you evolved so fast, so quietly, so consistently. They fear the moment your inheritance drops into your hands because they know once it does, they lose all leverage. You might wonder, why can't everyone around me just reveal their intentions? Because ambiguity is the test. Because confusion is the filter. Because pressure reveals the soul, not words. This entire process is designed to show the universe who you really are when nobody is clapping, nobody is helping, nobody is explaining anything. It's meant to expose your stability, your internal balance, your emotional discipline, your ability to walk through uncertainty without panicking. They're not testing your strength. They already know you're strong. They're testing your self-governance. Can you rule yourself before ruling anything greater? Imagine another scene. You're walking down a hallway, doors on each side, but none of them open. You can feel movement behind the walls. You can hear whispers, footsteps, buzzing wires. You know you're being observed, but nobody steps out. That hallway is your current season. Every step you take is being recorded. Every decision is being documented. Not because you're in danger, but because they're preparing the blueprint for your rise. You are not alone. You're under evaluation. That question you kept asking yourself, why me? Why all these eyes? Why all this pressure? Has an answer now. It's because what you're about to receive isn't ordinary. It's dimensional. It's legacy level. It shifts timelines. It alters entire trajectories. Only a soul who can remain calm while being studied is ready for that. Some watchers want to see if fame will corrupt you, if attention will distract you, if pressure will expose you. Others want to see if your humility is real, if your discipline is consistent, if your silence is strategic or scared. You're not just being looked at, you're being weighed, you're being measured, you're being qualified for power. And here's a truth nobody warns chosen ones about. Being studied is one of the highest signs of elevation. Nobody studies the unstable.